So we used to tease people like, who cares what you're having for lunch? Now it's like, man, what are my friends having for lunch? Like, I have no idea. Now I just watch people that I don't know make an obscure lunch that I would never make at 9-second chunks.
Hey, we need to talk.
Welcome to the Church Communications Group podcast, where we help church leaders find clarity, confidence, and connection in their communications. I'm Kim, General Manager of the Church Communications Group, joined by my co-host and friend, Zach.
Every Tuesday, we'll bring you fresh insights on what's happening in church communications. We promise to keep it real around here. Expect authentic conversations, practical advice, and definitely a few laughs along the way.
In each episode, we'll also share a valuable resource to help you grow in your church communications, leadership skills, and honestly, just life as well. So whether you're a seasoned communications director or just starting out, there is something here for you.
Now, get ready to learn, grow, and connect as we open up the conversation in today's episode of Hey, We Need to Talk.
Garrett, who do you follow anybody on social media that you get a lot of inspiration from?
For the church comm world, I've been following, like many of us probably, like Brady Shear for a long time. Brady Shear seems to be a mix of somebody who's talking a lot about, best practices. What's the easiest ways to post things? What are some good things that get attention? And what you post will get attention. But recently, he's been posting a lot about just being really thoughtful for how you're using social media. And, are you thinking about your audience? Are you thinking about, the gospel implications? So it's been really good. I also follow Carey Nieuwhof, who's got a great podcast on church leadership. He's definitely leans towards church comm stuff because he's always talking about kind of the new technology and how to use it well. And he's got some great clips of his podcast on his social media, his guests that he have. Those are some two people that I follow and really appreciate.
I love it. Do you guys follow or look at Danielle Davis stuff?
I haven't.
No. Okay. So Danielle Davis, she's newer, not brand new, but she's newer on our social media platforms. And she's doing kind of that same thing. She's helping churches understand, here's some best practices. Here's some ways to some fun things that you can do. She also puts templates in there. Here's some music and a template, and you just replace it with your photos. And now you've got a reel for your church. And she's young. She's inspiring. I feel like she's definitely got a good, and again, she's young or not young, but she is young. But she's newer to it. And so, but she's got a major following already. And I think it's because she's resourcing people. She's not just talking about it, she's resourcing them. And I personally love that because you're not just here, I'm looking at somebody tell me what to do, but instead they're here's some really good options. And then she's also, here's a way that you can, a way you can do that quickly. Here's a template or whatever. So I really like Danielle Davis. She's awesome. Zach?
I mean, I don't follow church comm. I'm I don't know, maybe the lacked resourced one here. I follow a lot of people, theater people, but also people that resource in what clothes to wear, kind of lifestyle, even kind of stuff. That's what I lean into. I don't necessarily use my personal social media for professional development some people do. I kind of use it more for entertainment and personal development.
Do you wear anything else other than church comm swag? Because that's all I ever see you in.
No, not at this point. I only get paid to wear our church comm swag, and I only have 3 pieces, 2 shirts and a hat. So my fashion is very limited, but it's called minimalist style right now. I'm very minimalist.
Hey, church communicator, let's talk about Instagram and Facebook. Zach, Garrett, Instagram and Facebook, those are probably our top 2 social media platforms that are out there.
Yeah, Facebook audience is going to be about 70% female, which has actually grown in the past year. I wouldn't even be surprised if most of our churches' Facebook is 75% female or more at this point, and it's going to be about 45 years old and more. So when we're thinking about that age and lifestyle, you're talking about mom of high schoolers and then all the way up to grandma.
Yeah.
That's great though, right? Really those people are really involved in our church communities. They're really involved in their community. That is to me, that seems that is the center of community right there.
Yeah. And they're the decision makers. Like they're the decision makers of the house, like where you're going for Christmas, Easter events. They're all that decision makers too, which is a great audience for us to have.
What have you seen as a really productive or really engaging way of using Facebook?
I really like Facebook for churches. I like Facebook groups for churches because, I think online, if you're going to be spending time online, I think that the least valuable thing you can do is just consume media. I think the most valuable thing you can do online with your time is develop community and build relationships. And so Facebook still offers that in a lot of different ways. It definitely just offers that in comments and posting updates of, posting personal updates. We used to tease people like, who cares what you're having for lunch? Now it's like, man, what are my friends having for lunch? Like, I have no idea. I've watched 78 short form videos.
Garrett.
Yeah. Now I just watch people and that I don't know make an obscure lunch that I would never make and 9-second chunks at a time.
That's so true.
So yeah, so how I've seen them used well, I've pushed a long time for churches to have really engaging Facebook groups where it's a place where they can ask for prayer requests, a place they can say like, hey, I've got a room to rent. Is anyone looking for a room to rent? That real community kind of bulletin board where, you're actually addressing some needs of people. Our church has used it on occasion for, a widow needs someone to come and help do some work on their house. Is anyone available? And of course, the women are on Facebook, so they're like, maybe telling their husbands, like, yeah, my husband can come over and do some work. And so, I would encourage churches to lean into that community side of a site like Facebook. You will get a lot less engagement on just like posting things like videos, posting things like events that people can come to, and or things happening at the church. Like you'll see, you used to get likes and comments, and you'll get like 4 likes and 1 comment, but what people are looking for probably on Facebook is more of that personal touch, asking questions, asking faith-based questions, trying to really start some conversations. I encourage people to tag people, churches to tag different people in the groups when they're, asking questions of people that they know.
What's the argument behind yes, put your event into Facebook, and what types of events as a church should we be putting into Facebook?
Yeah, I always would lean into outward-facing events because when we do look at our audience, the large majority of the people that are interacting with ours or even see our post is going to be outside your church. So like outward events, what are those things that people can go to that is not Sunday morning service, like that easy on-ramp for people to begin to engage, like with what Garrett said, community-oriented stuff. Like churches have fall festivals. We had a fall festival every year, and that was a place for our community to be able to interact with other people in the community. That's what people are looking for on Facebook, is they're looking for opportunities to get their family and themselves connected to something. So outward, don't like your pastor appreciation. Nobody really cares about pastor appreciation outside of your people. And even within that event, I would get people that to click going. That was always a hard part, is getting people to click that they were going. Now you just gotta have the ask. You gotta have those people that you're going to and saying, hey, I'm about to post this event. Can you click that you're going to? Number one, boost the appeal of it. There's more people going to it, but it also spider webs out, so more people are seeing that. And then also post in the group, like make it an opportunity to engage, like a fall festival, post a coloring page or some stuff for them to be able to print out and use with their kids. That'll build some more engagement there too.
But Zach, who's on Instagram?
So it's going to lean a little bit more on the female side. So probably about 55% female, 18 to 34. But really, it's a little bit heavier in that mid to upper 20s, and then even going beyond 34. Like I always say that Facebook started as a college group of people who were trying to connect with each other in college. Well, all of them grew up. So that's why it's getting a little bit older. Same thing. Instagram came out when I was in high school, and we've been on it. And guess what? We're getting older. So think more of young families and maybe even families of young kids.
What are those things that we want to see on Instagram? Like what is showing effective when we are posting on Instagram? Garrett, any thoughts on that?
I think Instagram gives you the opportunity to kind of decide what kind of account that you want to have. And you should be thinking about like, what is your hope and what is your goal? Because while it's not necessarily easy to grow an account, I think there's very clear tactics you can use. Like, hey, I just want to gain reach. And you kind of create some of the content that's easily shareable, right? So the idea is that someone finds that relatable, they know someone else who would find that funny, and they share it. And that's probably the number one way to really garner some growth. But I think Instagram, because it's used by young people and it's visited so often, and it is trending more into kind of that content, kind of that one-way interaction, I do think it's a great discipleship tool. And so I really encourage churches to really think about like, how can they develop some spiritual habits on Instagram? Like, when they scroll through their stories, sermon clips are okay, but I don't think necessarily they're great. I think having maybe even like a clip of a podcast or even like a guided prayer, like even, asking someone to watch a 15-second reel, then they can click and watch a 60-second guided prayer meditation for your morning. Or really think about like, can you capture that person who's on their phone kind of quote unquote wasting time? Can you give them an opportunity right there in that moment to experience something spiritual? I think it's okay to use Instagram as a discipleship opportunity for your own congregation. So if your church has, if your account has 1,000 followers and 90% of them are from your church, then when you post something that they can engage with, it's okay that it just reaches just them. That's a win. We're not chasing necessarily all this influence for the sake of influence. God has called us to a local community and a local church, and we're serving our church, and we can serve them with our digital platforms.
I think Facebook is a great place for us to communicate that information. It also is a good place for us to build connection, like with what Garrett talked about. Even just on the back end, like Garrett mentioned, like you're not going to see as many comments, like shares. Right. Well, Facebook is really working to pivot to change that. Like, so they are pushing those Facebook groups. They are pushing those events, like those things that naturally bring people back together. Community is a huge part of that. And a lot of times providing that information of how to get community is good while creating an opportunity for them to engage. And then Instagram is great for that inspiration content. It's great to storytell. It's great to be able to minister to people, and really thinking of your Instagram platform of bridging the gap between people that are unchurched, de-churched, and your church. Because we just live in a very highly politicized time where even church is a political entity to some people. And the way that we show that we're relevant, that we're willing to minister to you, even down to, hey, here are the lives and the stories that have of people being changed, that builds your reputation. That begins to build trust. And then that's how you're going to be able to bring back in people, the young generation that kind of has walked away or maybe even is very skeptical of church and the church as a system.
That's really
amazing.
Good.
Genius. People should write that down. Zach, that was incredible.
Write it down while you're driving. Pick up the notes.
Share this right now. Like, take that, put that on Instagram. That's inspirational. That was awesome.
That is really good. What would you recommend to any church to help them get some social media? Like, if there's a church out there and they're not posting anything, they're like, we don't have anybody that can do this. What would you recommend as some fast, cheap, easy ways to start getting content on any one of our social media platforms? So just one recommendation. Zach, let's start with you.
I will say Canva, or even like any of the likes of Canva, because if we're talking about what's going to be best for all platforms, graphic content is going to perform really well. Canva has great templates. My plea with you is do not leave it as a template. Manipulate it, change it, make it fit yours. Yes. Don't rip it off, but it is a great starting point. It's user friendly. For churches, you can get a free account, and that way you can take your pastor's message. You can pull out scripture from the message. You can pull out a quote. You can pull out his points and just make graphics of it. And that's perfect for Instagram, Facebook. That's going to be a great place for you to start.
That's good. Garrett?
Yeah, you only need to post two things to start with. You don't need to post the events, what's happening at your church. Your website can do that. Post pictures of your people and just post Bible verses. Post the verses that you're going through as a church. You could easily post the verse that's going to be in the upcoming sermon. But yeah, like Zach said, go on Canva, make the verses look really creative and really interesting. Maybe have it match some of the theme you're going through, and then take a bunch of photos on Sunday of your people. You could take 20 in one morning, and then you could use Meta Business Suite, which is Facebook's kind of scheduling tool, and just post twice a week. On Monday, you can post it. It was a great weekend. We can't wait to see you again on Sunday. And on Thursday, you can make a post that says, we can't wait to see you this coming Sunday and worship with you. And then in the middle of the week, you post a Bible verse and schedule those out for as far out as you want. And then it's running for you. And then don't forget to come back and engage on the comments and interact with people.
Yeah, that's really good. Canva also, has a new nonprofit. So like some people are thinking, oh, Canva, gosh, doesn't that cost money? No, Canva now has for nonprofits a free way of using Canva. So a big win there. I would recommend, if you are going to engage, if you do, let's say you have a videographer, you have somebody capturing on their phone some stuff, you can make quick, easy reels, or you can take your pastor's message and grab a few clips. Easy with multiple different services. There's Opus, there's Sermon Shots, there's multiple out there. They are affordable, they're fast, they're easy. In 5 minutes, you can have a clip, which I think is just one of those things that, like, if you're like, okay, I'm not understanding Canva, but I really want to get that inspirational piece out there. Grab your pastor's message, throw it in there, and in 5 minutes, you've got a clip. So those are some quick, easy, affordable ways for you guys in your churches to be able to engage in social media today.
Hey, we need to talk.
Thanks for tuning into the Hey, We Need to Talk podcast. We hope today's episode has equipped you with insights and strategies to enhance your church communications efforts.
Remember, we're here every Tuesday with fresh content to keep you up to date on what's happening in church communications. If you found value in today's discussion, we'd love for you to join us again next week by clicking the follow button wherever you listen to podcasts.
And hey, you're a part of this conversation too. So if there's a topic you'd like to talk about, make sure to leave a comment in the episode and on social media.
For more resources or just to set up a call with any one of our team members, head over to churchcommunications.com. And check out our free online learning platform, CC+, where you can access a wealth of additional resources to support your church communications journey.
We're Zach and Kim, and from all of us here at Church Communications Group, we're looking forward to helping you find clarity, confidence, and connection in your church communications.